who made it.
For another one. This video is a little bit different, and it's just kind of based off of my observations of what I've been seeing going on here in the used Harley market. Now, for those of you that may or may not know, I purchased my first Harley last year. I wouldn't, like, to the date, give or take 10 days. You know what I'm saying? But one thing that I was looking at here was, as I was looking back just on the website, you know, you find things or you see things that you may or may not want on the bike, etc., etc. And everything like that. So this is just kind of out the. Let me see. What's the word I'm looking for? This is like a slight brief comparison on, you know, what you can get today versus what I got a year ago, and it could be based heavily off of the time that my motorcycle was purchased, but it also could be based off of the dealership. I've been watching a lot of other YouTubers, and they've been saying, you know, that not all dealerships are, even though they are all Harley Davidson dealerships, they are not all created. Purchase date of my bike was 6/7/2022, and I came out paying after the ESP, which is the extended service contract, and everything. So after the trade, etc., everything, I ended up spending pretty much 24. Now, my bike does have a lot of extras, and those I'll be comparing to this bike on here because it is kind of similar, but a little bit different. So first thing that I was looking at, man, when I as I looked at this, man, is the mileage on this bike is 25,949. That's for sale, whereas when I purchased my Harley, it had 46,000 miles. Now, I know that mileage doesn't really have as much part to play in the used bikes. However, it does add quite a bit. The service records for my bike I did have. I was able to get them from the dealership. The bike was maintained. My thought process was, you know, a bike that was not ridden as much, you know, may not have been as maintained as well, etc., etc., could have sat, you know, whatever the situation may have been. So that was the first thing that kind of caught my eye. I'm like, I could have got a bike, not only because the base price of that bike was $21,900. This one is $18,500. We'll round it up. And I mean, that's a significant difference. We're talking about 19, 20, 21. Mine was $21,900, so that's almost $4,000 difference on the price of the bike alone. And like I said, that's not including the ESP, theft protection, any of that going on there. So the miles was a difference. The price was a difference. This was, so I'm gonna just go through the pictures, and I'm gonna blow them up first. well, that's not really that. Alright, never mind. So you can see the pictures there. If I blow them up there, it's like too big or whatever. So like I said, not only does this bike have half the miles and the price was less, but But I will say that I am noticing some things that my bike had that this bike did not. So let me know in the comments if you think that, after we go over everything, let me know if you think that I got a better deal or they got a better deal, or if this is a better deal. So the first thing that I'm noticing is that now, granted, I would not have been able to tell you all these things a year ago because I was brand new to Harley Davidsons, etc., etc. So, yeah. So, first thing I'm noticing is I can't for sure say if that's the stock exhaust. It doesn't look to be. For whatever reason, I cannot see the bottom of that picture, but it looks to be like a little bit of some kind of aftermarket symbol, etc. there. So that's probably not the stock exhaust. Mine also didn't have the stock exhaust. I have the Cobra Neighbor Haters on my bike. It looks like it's the stock air cleaner. Mine has. This one does look like it has it does look like it has a 21-inch wheel on it. And it looks like it might have a matching rear wheel. It's very kind of hard to tell. So, depending upon, you know, what you want to do to your bike, etc., etc. So right now I'm at a point where like the wheels is something that I definitely want to do. You know what I'm saying? So had I got this bike with 20, which would have been a little bit cheaper, you know what I'm saying, etc., etc., then it may or may not have put me in a situation where I would have been a little bit closer to, you know, where I wanted to be. But although it does have the 21-inch wheel and looks like a matching chrome wheel, there's a lot of stuff that it has that my bike, or it's a lot of stuff that my bike had that it didn't. So my bike had the chrome right here. It also had the like side wind deflectors there. It also had the CVO badges on the tank. It did not have the crash bars, which in hindsight, with the situation of me going down, I mean, that probably would have been nice to have. The color looks to be the same. I still would have probably fell in love with it the same. Looking at the front of the bike, it looks like it possibly does have LEDs in it. Let's see. I'm not the biggest fan of that decal, but you know, that was easy. Looks like it has a Clockworks windshield on it, which is interesting. My front forks like have the chrome covers and the reflector is already taken off, so one less work that I had to do. My bike did have the stretch saddlebags on it already from Advan Black. The antenna was already deleted and rerouted. The seat on my bike is like an alligator imprint, you know, and it's like a 2-up seat versus just a single seat with a backrest. Looks like the handlebars are of the stock variety, which mine already had 12-inch or 12.5-inch chubbies on it. Those handlebars look to be about like stock height, so that's no good. So that would have been something else I would have had to do. It does look like it has the third brake or the saddlebag lights, but I mean, I got mine from Amazon. I added them on, no big deal. Let's see what we got here. Actually, those guards or the grips, the grips, excuse me, you look to be the same. This one still had the mirrors on the inside of the fender, which I don't even know what that feels like, or feels like riding with, because mine already had taller handlebars and it already had the mirrors on top. So, like I said, so the person that had my bike, I mean, definitely put some work into it, spent some money on it, made it their own. More than likely probably wasn't compensated for that when they traded in the bike. So, it looks like some, so the saddle, so right here where the gas goes, that was switched out on my bike as well, versus this one. So while this bike does have what I desire as far as, I don't know what light that is. Probably the only thing I guess that has me rethinking or even contemplating or was to make this video was the fact that this bike has what I'm looking for, which is a 21-inch wheel with a matching rear, and the price is less than my bike. However, all the other additional stuff that is on my bike may possibly equate, or it may be a trade-off to what I wanted or needed to do. I mean, am I the biggest fan of that wheel? I mean, I am a 5-spoke kind of person, but I mean, it still would have left, I guess, a lot of other things that could have been desired. I'm looking at that windshield. That windshield is huge. It feels like it's higher. I might get me a taller windshield. See how I like it. But yeah, if you look there, there's some things to be desired, but it's also some things that already that were already in place and things like that. So overall, I mean, I'm not dissatisfied with my purchase of my bike. You know what I'm saying? I still love my bike or whatever. There are, like I said, there's a lot of things on this bike that we're looking at that is not ideal, or compared to my bike. Now, when I first got my bike, I didn't even realize all the goodies and upgrades that were there, other than the ones that were kind of pointed out by the salesman, which my salesman was great. Originally we was about to jump into another bike, and we switched at the last minute because I didn't want to have any buyer's remorse. He was fully on board with it, man, and was a great salesman. As far as a great salesman, as far as getting me what I wanted, you know what I'm saying? I also noticed that on my bike down here at the bottom, I have the chrome Harley Davidson piece there. So it's a lot of little extra stuff, and I cannot even verify that that's a 21, but I'm thinking that's a 21. If you look at it, it looks like a 21, right? But it's still a lot to be desired on the bike. Now that I know what I know now, my bike, really right now, the only thing that my bike is lacking or that I'm wanting for my bike is a 21-inch wheel in the front. I've been looking at the Enforcer replica, and doing a wrap fender, and And then after that, man, my music, getting the amplifier and the bike. I put lowers on the bike, and then and the reason I didn't mention the lowers earlier is because that's something that I added on. It wasn't something that I bought with the bike. But yeah, so I'm going, you know, once I put my amp in there, my 4 speakers, you know what I'm saying, and then from there, put my 21 up front, man, I honestly think that I'm gonna be at a pretty good stopping point, you know what I'm saying, from getting the bike how I want it. But yeah, man, let me know what your thoughts are. Do you feel like you got a good deal on your bike when you got it? Do you have any buyer's remorse, etc., etc.? But overall, man, the purpose of this video is to, you know, highlight that, man, there are a lot of different variations, prices, etc., etc., etc. on different vehicles, not just motorcycles, but for us, motorcycles on this channel that, you know, have a lot of different price points, man. So you just gotta do your research, man. Do not be an impulsive buyer. And I mean, hell, let's just say if I had waited a year, I might not have had an accident. You know what I'm saying? Could have got a cheaper bike. I probably would have never seen that bike. So I really wouldn't have had nothing to compare it to. So I guess you just kind of gotta deal with it as it goes. And there's certain situations come and things like that. So yeah, like I said, let me know. Jump down in the comments and let me know what you think. Did you get a deal? Like I said, did you get a good deal on your bike? Do you have any buyer's remorse? Is there anything that you had to add to your bike to make it your own that you would have wished that it was been on there when you first purchased it? Like I said, for me, that's the 21 and 18 wheel. Well, 21 and 18, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, for my purposes, now that I have the bike, I'm just going to add a 21 to the front. Had I been looking for one, the 21 and 18 would have been something that I was looking for in a used model, just because you save more money doing that stuff, or if you can buy a bike with it already on it. Like I said, I know that I saved a lot of money, you know, having, you know, the stretch bags on there, you know, a lot of the stuff already done for me. However, it was a couple things to be desired, you know what I'm saying? But I knew for sure one thing, that I did not want to get a black bike, just for the simple fact that I knew that I was gonna want to change the color, and of course that's not cheap. Depending upon who you know, what you know. Honestly, it's just painting the fender, that front cover, the outer fairing, the tank, your side bags, your rear fender, and then your 2 saddlebags. Honestly, and that changes the color. But depending upon, you know, your network, your resources, you know, that may or may not be that simple, and it may or may not be that cost effective. So always something to keep in mind. So I appreciate y'all for watching.